Hey everyone, tonight we're going to slow things down a bit. I want to invite you into a calm, late-night reflection on something that happens long after the markets close. You know, when it's just you, staring at that glowing screen. We're going to take a really close look at the hidden, emotional reasons we compulsively participate in the markets. We're going to explore exactly why we keep clicking that mouse when we consciously, logically know we should have stopped.
I knew I should have stopped, but emotionally, I wanted one more chance. If you've ever felt that exact way, believe me, you are absolutely not alone. It takes some radical vulnerability to admit it, but the painful reality is that in those really dark moments, sitting there deep in a drawdown, we actually aren't chasing profit anymore. What we're desperately chasing is relief.
So this brings us to a central mystery, right? Why do highly intelligent, capable people completely abandon their well-tested strategies? Why do they start reacting to their own emotional pain instead of the actual price action on the chart?
Well, that brings us to Section 1, chasing relief, not profit, the hidden emotional pressures of trading. See, the very moment you need a trade to work just to fix something broken inside you, well, the trade already owns you emotionally. You aren't operating in the market anymore. The market is operating on you. You've brought this massive, invisible pressure right to the charts.
When we start overtrading, we aren't executing a system. We're seeking relief. Relief from pressure, relief from losses, relief from the shame of breaking our own rules for the 100th time. We're looking for relief from financial stress, or even just relief from that heavy, sinking feeling that we're somehow falling behind in life. I want you to just let that realization breathe for a second. A single trade literally cannot carry the emotional weight of your entire life.
Let's move into Section 2, the anatomy of a spiral, trading in survival mode. We need to look at what happens when the immense pressure of funded accounts, payout expectations, and past failures pushes a trader directly into survival mode.
By the fifth trade, I wasn't reading the market anymore. I was reacting to my own frustration. It's a confession so many of us share in this industry. Overtrading is honestly exactly like trying to dig yourself out of quicksand by moving faster. Every frantic action you take just pulls you deeper and deeper into the mess. Which brings us to this incredible metaphor. Trading in survival mode is like trying to perform surgery while your house is on fire. It requires delicate, calm precision, but you are completely consumed by panic. Revenge trading isn't a valid market strategy. It's really just emotional CPR for wounded confidence.
So let's look at Section 3, discipline over dopamine, the neurochemical reality of overtrading. We've got to strip away this illusion right now that overtrading is just a strategic error or a lack of simple discipline. It's actually a neurochemical crisis that is disguising itself as market analysis. Let's dig into the biology of why we actually do this. We call this the participation trap. It's a neurochemical problem where your brain flat out demands the dopamine hit of involvement. It actively tricks you into seeing market noise as a genuine opportunity. You know that relentless hunt for better setups when the market is slow and choppy? Yeah, that's actually just a biological craving for stimulation. Here's the exact tragic sequence of how that trap springs on you. Step 1, the market moves. Step 2, your brain immediately registers that movement as potential. Step 3, the dopamine system demands action. And finally, Step 4, you enter the market. You force the setup that was never actually valid simply to satisfy your brain's deep need for participation.
To actually break this cycle, the Session Trading Lab, or STL, introduces a very specific, non-negotiable metric. It's the rule of emotional neutrality. You have to ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how neutral do you feel right now? If your emotional state drops below a 7 out of 10, participation is strictly forbidden, period. You must step away from the desk.
This perfectly sets up Section 4, execution versus regulation, the climax of the trading narrative. This right here is where we separate the professionals from the gamblers. There is a profound night and day difference between trading as a cultivated skill and trading as a tool for emotional survival.
Think about it like this. In execution mode, you are process-driven. You are patiently waiting for alignment, sitting safely at a 7 out of 10 or higher for emotional neutrality. But regulation mode, that's trading strictly from fear. That's needing validation from the market. That's dopamine seeking. When you trade for relief, you are no longer executing a strategy. You are simply in emotional regulation mode.
I really love this quote. A strategy is the map. The market is the territory. But if the operator is panicking, even the best map becomes hard to read. Listen,
If you've been struggling with this, please hear me on this. You are not weak. You are not unintelligent. You are just overwhelmed. And the market is entirely ruthless. It will always expose our emotional leaks when we're put under pressure.
So how do we actually fix it? Well, we start by asking this single, incredibly stabilizing question. It's what professional operators use to shift their mindset from hunting for literally any trade they can find to strictly filtering for the right ones. Before clicking, they ask, does this environment actually deserve my participation?
That brings us to Section 5, the path to precision, anchoring the STL doctrine. This doctrine is the calm, stabilizing antidote to the frantic, exhausting chaos of retail trading. It's all about building structured, professional execution.
Let's just walk through the core tenets together. First up, process over emotion. The crucial takeaway here is that doing absolutely nothing is actually a high-skill professional activity. Knowing exactly when to sit on your hands and wait for your process to align, that is the true mark of a professional.
Second, patience creates precision. You have to remember, your specific edge in the market only exists for a very, very small fraction of the day. Everything else you see flashing on that chart, it is just noise wearing the costume of opportunity. Third, timing before direction. Real consistency doesn't come from predicting every single market move perfectly. It comes from waiting patiently until probability, market structure, and your own emotional neutrality finally converge.
This one is the ultimate test of discipline. The market always offers trades. Your edge does not. The market will always be there, tempting you with flashing numbers and rapid movement. But your discipline as an operator is measured not by the trades you take, but by the trades you have the strength to leave behind.
Finally, let's ground ourselves with this fundamental truth. We trade to live. We do not live to trade. Trading is a business, and it should support your life. It should never consume it, and it absolutely, under no circumstances, can act as the repair mechanism for your own self-worth.
Which brings us to a really quiet, deeply human realization. Consistency does not begin with more trades. It begins with emotional honesty. True, lasting consistency starts with the self-awareness to recognize when you are compromised and the immense restraint to just step away.
I want to leave you with a final, somewhat provocative thought for tonight. Next time you sit down at the charts, right before your finger hovers over that mouse to click buy, I want you to stop. Ask yourself, are you executing a strategy right now, or are you trying to repair your life? Sit with that question tonight. Let it completely shift how you approach your very next session.